Okay, hello, good evening, good morning to the people who are joining in, depending on where you're joining us from. If you can see me and hear me, please type a hi in the chat box. Great, thanks, Kea. Thanks, Dipali, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in today. I'll quickly go over the essential parts of the session before we begin, and I'll also be making a very interesting announcements for all those who stick till the end of the webinar. We have a special surprise for all of you. Great. So for all the questions that you have, please write it in the Q&A box. And for any queries regarding audio, video, anything going off, please write it in the chat. And I and Professor Anita would be picking up questions after we've already picked up a few questions that came in from you. And after that, we'll be opening the floor for Q&A from the audience. So the first 30 minutes is going to be dedicated to pre-assigned questions that came in from the audience, and then we'll be picking up live Q&A. Great. That sets the tone for the session. I am Medha. I am Business Manager Growth at Upgrad, and joining in with me today is Dr. Anita Basalingappa, who is a Professor of Marketing and Head of Online Programs at MICA. Thank you so much, Professor, for joining in.
Thank you, Medha. A big hello to everybody.
Great. It's lovely to have you here. So great, guys. I think, Professor, I will just launch a poll to begin the session. And this poll will give us an idea on what the expectation of people who are attending today's session is about. Hi, everybody. Request you to please punch in your votes. Just talk about your years of experience and what outcome you're expecting from today's session. I hope you're able to see the live results, Professor.
Yes, I'm able to see. Yeah.
Okay. Some of you are still left to vote. Would really request all of you to punch in really quick. Great. Okay. So, Professor, we see a very heavy mix of under 5 years of work ex professionals today. And we have the primary outcome that they're expecting is to how they can build their careers in digital marketing, and how is digital marketing, shaping the. Okay, I think that's like a almost equal split between all the outcomes that we've laid out. So, but building a career and upskilling is something which lies on most people's minds. Great. Thank you, everybody, for voting. So, Professor, let's begin with the pre-assigned questions that we had. To begin, how has digital marketing changed in the COVID era, the way we've interacted with brands over the past 1.5 years?
Thank you, Medha. And this is a wonderful group that we are getting to address. Really looking forward to the next 1 hour, half an hour, 45 minutes with all of you. In fact, if we look at the last 1.5 years or so, I think digital definitely has kind of moved at the speed of light, right? If you look at the numbers of 2021, in terms of number of them who are on internet, number of them who are mobile users, the amount of social commerce and e-commerce, mobile commerce that has begun, it's really unprecedented. And this reminds me of a quote by Brian Solis, who's a digital anthropologist. He says, I just read so that I don't miss out what he has said. He says, each business is a victim of digital Darwinism. And this Darwinism is essentially evolution of consumer behavior when society and technology evolve faster than the ability to exploit it. So now we are seeing that every business is affected by digital Darwinism. So, you just can't, it just does not discriminate any. So every business is threatened in that sense if you're not on digital. So that sets a starting pace for you to say how important is digital. If you look at the traditional companies, almost all the traditional companies, the ones who have need for a everyday requirement or health sector, all these businesses have gone digital. And those of the businesses which have been impacted badly by the pandemic right now, we know for sure that they will all come back with vengeance, like travel, tourism, and all of that, because we are seeing a lot of reports, and they're completely on the digital space right now, communicating with customers. So there's a lot of marketing communication that is happening in the digital space, right? So digital is here to stay. Clearly, digital is shaping up at a pace faster than before right now. So all I can say as a starting comment is that this entire digital space is something which has got something for everybody who's getting in there, and there's nobody who's going to be left out. We know in the total population of around 7.8 billion, 60% of them are already on internet, right? And we do know that about 52-53% of them are using mobile for everything. So this is a large population which is interacting on business, and the Gen Z especially, they are completely on digital. Buying, selling, everything is happening on digital. So it says a lot in terms of where digital marketing is moving ahead for us. That's about the question that Medha asked.
Great. Thank you so much for laying down, I think, the broad scope of digital marketing, and I think practically has seeped into everything that we do today, with our lives being so close to digital, all of most of us being locked down at home. I'm sure we are such huge consumers of everything digital, which is what the whole scope of digital has become, right? Practically every person who has an internet connection. So great. So Professor, I would also want you to talk about the upgrad MICA relationship and how it has evolved over the years.
Yeah, so once again, I'll quickly introduce myself. Even though Medha has already mentioned, I'm Professor Anita Baslingappa in the marketing area of an institute called MICA in the northwestern part of India, which is in Gujarat, in a city of Ahmedabad. MICA is an institution which was born out of an ad agency way back in 1991, and it's a kind of a unique institution because it was the only institution that was offering marketing and communication subjects for the 2 years. This was only similar to something like medical school, for that matter. Globally, I think some of you would know medical school. For a very long time, we were offering courses and subjects on the agency side. So post 2000, we started looking at the client side. And in 2013, we were one of the first institutions to start digital marketing as a specialization. And of course, we already had started online programs in 2005, and we knew that digital is something which is going to catch up very fast. And in 2017, we met the founders of Upgrad, and we were super excited to see their vision of how they would want to reach out to a large population, because MICA's residential programs could only cater to a limited number of students because of the limitation of number of people we can take on board in the residential program. So with Upgrad, the digital marketing and communication program began in 2017, and the first batch itself had more than 170 people. So that was quite encouraging for us. to say what is the demand and how hungry are people for knowledge. And online worked very well because of the kind of support that Upgrad brought in to put together content that was delivered by MICA and reach out to the students and all of that. So in the first year, we probably had first year and second year, we had about 1,000 students graduating. And after that, in fact, it is multiplied by 3 in terms of the number of takers for the courses at Upgrad MICA program. It also shows the need that is there in the industry, because each of them who's coming in is coming in to kind of satisfy a certain kind of a requirement which will help them grow. So from that point of view, this MICA upgrad program was something which was the need of the hour, and it continues to be. So we are now about 4 years old, and I think going quite strong, and we are quite happy and looking forward to days ahead.
Amazing. Thank you, Professor, for helping us understand uh, the the origin of our partnership. Great. So let's move on to one question. I can see some people already posting questions in the Q&A. And why should everybody learn digital marketing, irrespective of their role or their experience?
Yeah, in fact, as I began with the way Medha kind of also mentioned about how important digital is in our walks of life at the moment. In fact, if you see right now, if I can ask y'all, if you know anybody who is not on internet, think of yourself as a consumer and see what you expect from brands, what you expect from companies in today's times. You need a certain kind of an engagement, you need communication at any point. When you need something, you go on to a search engine, right? You go on to type into Google and find out where is what and all of that. If a particular brand is not available on Google, you're not very sure whether you should go in for that or not. This is happening across the globe, right? So this only translates to every company, whether a company is into forklift trucks or into a soft drink or a coffee or travel, tourism, whether it is B2B sector, B2C sector, across sectors. All of us are operating right now online. That's also another thing which is going to kind of have its impact, because there are conveniences of doing this as well, right? So given this, the need for educating ourselves of basics of digital is the first most important thing. And I don't see I see a time where there won't be any company which is not one leg into digital, if not both legs. So I clearly see a huge demand for digital and need for digital for those of you who are joining the workforce now, or those of you who are already there in the workforce also. You'll see that you'll feel like a fish out of water in case if you've not yet had a digital transformation plan on for various aspects. Like, for instance, if you look at traditional marketing, traditional branding, traditional advertising, all these subjects also, which you, some of you, if you've studied them a bit, all of these would have a digital angle to it now. So, simple things of what should be done for the brand in the digital space. How do you connect with customers in the digital space? How do you respond to them in the digital space? How do you compete with other people in the digital space? Answers to all of that lies in digital marketing. And I see that as something which is crucial moving ahead.
Thank you, Professor. There's one more thing. I think the parts that you covered, we are already covering as a part of our program that we're providing. So essentially, people who are, say, in leadership today, right? So we've got a leadership track for that person. For somebody who is now trying to understand how to use hands-on tools, right? There's an executive track, and for somebody who's just learning, who's been in digital and only wants to optimize campaigns, right, and is only on the on the overview of things, just getting a download on a daily level. So there's a management track for that person, along with the specializations that we offer. So I think there's so much more in terms of what you can do with respect to where you are in your job currently with the current program that we have developed with MICA. So I think there's nobody who left out who shouldn't be learning digital marketing. Great. One more question that we had received before we start the session was, how is digital marketing changing the marketing landscape?
So, the digital marketing space, in fact, is something which is an integral part of marketing already. When I told you about how we started, MICA started the digital marketing specialization, right, in 2013. And in fact, the Y2K year, that is the millennials that we talk of, year 2000, that is when a lot of digitization had begun, right? If you look at the way in which some of the companies have, been how the companies have evolved, many of them were only digital, and now a lot of traditional companies also are incorporating the digital aspects in their marketing, right? So now to look at some basic aspects, what Medha just asked about, how has marketing changed into digital. So, simple thing when we talk about what is marketing, you talk about it's a field of exchange. You look at understanding of what happens between various stakeholders in the marketplace, right? And how do you create, offer, and deliver products and services which are of value. So in this entire process now, the change is in terms of the tools that are being used. Right now, digital tools are crucial because the two-way communication that happens on the internet, on the social media space, is completely filled up with a lot of brands talking to customers, customers talking to other customers, users talking to other users about brands, and all of that. So in fact, brands are being built by community, brands are being built by users and customers, more than what happens in the shop floor of factories or in the marketing companies. So the connect between the company and the customers is the digital space. So it's clearly that bit which has to be engineered by the companies, because customers will not build all of that, right? We have the media moguls, the Googles of the world, Facebooks of the world, and all the barrage of other social media tools that are coming in right now. And how do you kind of be present there as a brand, as a marketer, is a marketer's job, is the company's job, right? And how do you build commerce there, connecting with it with marketing, is the company's job. Who does it? Those of them who do the digital marketing programs and such programs, right? So from that perspective, clearly, I think digital marketing is an integral part of marketing right now, with the tools of marketing completely lopsided towards digital.
Perfect. I mean, for some of you who are already marketing professionals here who are attending the session today, think of the times you had to run a campaign, right? A marketing campaign in the shops. Let's take examples of consumer products, right? FMCG. We'll think of the times you had to run a specific discount in a DMart or in a hypercity. I'm giving examples of Indian, you know, shops here where a lot of you might be already aware of them. Now think of all that now moving to digital, right? All the communication that you're doing is essentially happening through a mobile phone or through a desktop, where people are sitting in front of search engines or just using social media, right? And all the ads you're bombarded with in the middle of a YouTube video, or while you're just looking up stories on Instagram of your friends. That's sort of the presence we're talking of, and how it has sort of changed the entire marketing landscape from it being from marketing being a very touch and feel to to marketing being everything that you see while you're using your phone. Great.
Absolutely. So clearly, I think just adding on to what Nita mentioned, all the new things on the digital space which have come in makes it so real and comfortable and convenient for customers at the moment. Sometimes even when you're shopping something which is a complex thing like a kitchen appliance or any gadget for that matter, at some point for those of us who are digital immigrants, it was unthinkable to not go to the store and buy. But the last 1 year has pushed us and made us so comfortable and understand the medium and see how convenient it is to buy anything and everything. So from virtual reality to artificial intelligence, all of it has made that possible. And also for those of you who are on the agency side for that matter, who are in media agencies, in advertising agencies. Of course, creativity is something which is some parts of it will remain the same, but things like, say, media buying and selling, which used to happen in a certain way, right now all of that is automated. So your data is being used, and you kind of automate that entire process and look at programmatic advertising, what Medha mentioned. So there is so much of convenience and for the end consumer. So why will the marketer not shift there, right? So there's enough and more that we as people should be getting ourselves, skilled in, like, in terms of understanding the digital space better, creating avenues to be able to kind of automate stuff, and all of that is something which is a must. So to begin, you have to begin somewhere in case if you've not started looking at digital marketing. So that is where this course gives you a proper beginning. And for those of you who know digital well, there's so much of information all over. You need something to be channelized, right? So a course like this will help you channelize and get where you want to go. I think I'm also answering a couple of questions based on how I've responded to Medha right now.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
I think that did cover a few questions that were in the Q&A box as well. Great, thank you, Professor. Moving on to one question which we received before we started. It was, why should I, really do digital marketing now? COVID may just end. It could be, digital marketing could be a fad. We could very well move on to, our traditional forms of marketing. So is it a fad, or is it here to stay?
Okay, this is a very tricky question, but facts are facts, right? So first, let me take up this aspect of work from home, because that is the low-hanging fruit right now. All of us are working from home right now, and we know a lot of companies will continue with this work from home policy. Okay, I'm talking about just work from home policy that companies will have a huge impact on the digital space, like the Zooms of the world, Google Meets of the world, all kind of platforms. Demand for all of them will only increase, and marketing all of them also will start becoming more and more important, right? So I'm talking about one of the most popular requirements in right now in the pandemic times will become a necessity moving ahead. Look at what Skype was a while ago, and look at how we are using seamlessly, whether it's Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and whatever else, right? So it clearly talks about the way in which we have seamlessly become comfortable in such times. And some parts of work from home will continue, while, of course, face-to-face communication is something which will be important. We will go back to some parts of it. So I thought we'll start from first this work from home thing, and then say that digital marketing definitely is not a fad. There are things which are going to be useful and that will continue to stay. Now getting on to look at the logistics bit, like for logistics and entertainment, two things for that matter. how many of you will stop looking at Netflix and Amazon Prime? And I know when I say all of this, you're hooked onto it, and you're not going to give up watching any of these, right? I'm sure this has been there for a few years now, since 2007 and all of that. But in the last few years, especially in the last 1.5 years, the numbers state that it has shot up, right? And the need for entertainment from those spaces will increase. So you know what is the stakeholder, the entire set of people and the ecosystem around it, which is going to enable digital space, that's going to be there. And all the ordering that you're doing, food or your requirements and all of that, now if you're getting that at the convenience at your home, why will you have to go and start finding a parking space and suffer all of that and then go shopping? Unless there is something entertaining you there, you will not shift, right? So again, the ecosystem around logistics, around the digital space, the Swiggies, Zomatos, Grofers, big baskets of the world, they're only here to grow and make it more convenient for customers. And who do they need? Digital marketers as well, apart from people who can build the digital infrastructure. Yeah, so that's to say that digital marketing definitely is not a fad. Clearly, now I would want you to kind of recollect what I mentioned right in the beginning. The digital anthropologist who has talked about digital Darwinism, and it's not going to leave anybody. Every business is threatened by digitization, and if you don't, then you will probably get get threatened by extinction. So some part of it or the other will have to get digitized. Whether we are comfortable or not, we will have to get on to the fintech space, and digital payments have become so seamless right now. In the past, banks have been talking about how tough it has been to make people interact through credit cards, right? And right now we are very easily using the fintech space to buy and interact financially as well. So these are few examples of our everydayness which exist. So I want you to imagine who's putting that up for all of us, and what are the customer expectations. Our customer expectations are continuing to grow. So it means that every company needs people with digital expertise to get only better. Perfect. So it's here to stay.
Thank you, Professor. Just in the last 1 year, I think there have been 1 million jobs globally generated in the space of digital marketing. And that's just the jobs which are generated formally, right? Informally, there's so much more freelancing that has come in, where people who've been in the domain for years have actually helped governments to come online, right? Governments were traditionally non-users of the digital space. So yeah, there's so much more scope other than the numbers we just mentioned. Great. I think we see one person, Sanjay, don't worry, your question is not getting dismissed. We've not even started picking up questions from learners. All of these questions were the ones we got before the session started. So don't worry, we're not ignoring anybody. The questions, we'll be starting picking up questions after I get done with this last one, which is, Professor, how do you keep yourself updated in this whole sea of information?
Yeah, I think, I'm not a digital native. I'm a digital immigrant in that sense. When I'm touching 50, of course, I'm more used to the touch and feel of papers and looking at all of that. But I had to kind of dip into a lot of stuff in the digital space to keep myself updated. Of course, I continue to read books and authors and all of that. But some websites and some magazines that I regularly keep looking at is, of course, for India, I keep looking at the brand equity or agency FAQs, the quick information about what's happening in the in the corporate world, if I need to know internationally, campaign and some of these other conferences, lot of curated websites which exist. I'm just mentioning one or two of them right now, but I have curated some of the magazines, some of the portals, some information, and I follow a lot of brands on social media. And my grazing time on social media, apart from doing a little bit of posting here and there, to kind of know how these social platforms are changing, how are brands responding. So in this process, I also kind of learn and understand what's happening in the digital space. So I've given you an easy way of understanding and learning, and not all those huge reference lists, which of course as an academician I do look up all of it, but this is an easy way to start.
Perfect. Thank you. So the moral there was, while you're using social media platforms, please keep an eye out on what brands are doing, and follow certain pages. I mean, I think a few that I follow, which are my personal favorites, are Ogilvy, which comes up with amazing content, and there's a very an Indian brand called Mad Over Marketing. They also come up with the best in digital marketing there is. So yeah, those are some quick hacks you guys can follow. Great. That brings us to the end of questions from you, Professor. And now we will just pick up all the live sessions,
Yeah.
live questions, which are there in the Q&A. Before we touch on to that, there's one bit I wanted to touch upon, which is about the upgrad learning experience. So while we did speak about the upgrad MICA partnership, there is what makes upgrad and MICA, this course on digital marketing, really special is the fact that upgrad comes in with a lot more career assistance help that is needed for working professionals who are doing this program. There are upgrad buddies to help you out, because we all know as working professionals that leaves us with such little time to devote to learning. So your buddies and the support system that we have in upgrad will really help you plan your day better to be able to take this course, and while you're working. The next bit is you have a, a networking opportunity with people from over 85 countries that uh, have have used the upgrad programs, and uh, and that's a brilliant opportunity to learn from your peers. There's also a discussion forum where you can actively post questions like you're just posting in the Q&A. And of course, professors like Professor Anita, who will be taking you through the program, and we'll be coming up with really specific examples on how to use specific tools, on how to there'll also be industry experts who will be telling you live examples from the industry, and helping you use those tools in the best possible way. So yeah, that's something that I had to share. We're bang on time with 30 minutes here for us, Professor. We'll start with the first question that Akansha has posted is, how can I start to build a career in digital marketing?
Yeah, Akanksha, and I think a couple of others who have asked, who have no experience, who are freshers, and how am I beginning to start a career in digital marketing. So I think this program would do a lot of good if you enroll, because the program, first of all, takes you through fundamentals of marketing again, introduces you to the digital ecosystem, digital channels, metrics, and all of that, keeping in mind definitely the customer in the center. So customer centricity is what the program essentially takes you through. And then it has to a very important and basic modules on SEO, your search engine optimization, social media marketing, on search engine marketing, all, and display advertising, content marketing. So all these aspects are covered through the sessions, these and more. So it will help you get an idea of how to kind of step into the digital marketing space to begin with. Okay. And the program is done so well. It has all the conceptual knowledge which is married with a lot of live examples and industry professionals who are absolutely in the industry doing the things, coming in and talking to you off and on. So that is what Team Upgrad curates and brings it to your screen to ensure that you don't miss out on what's how to marry theory and practice and how to benefit from it. And they also have boot camps and projects which would help you look at practice. And there are some certifications also that you will be provided through the course. So, as a fresher, I can vouch for this program that will add huge benefits to you moving ahead.
Perfect. Thank you, Professor. And I know this is the latest question that I see from Nicodemus. It's an absolute, twist to what you just answered as a fresher, and he's somebody who's with 15 years of experience in traditional marketing and doing hands-on digital activations for brands in the last couple of years. And how will this course help him move, a step further in his career?
Yeah. So, see, as I mentioned, that those of you who have traditional experience, you will have a need to kind of translate whatever bits of that into the digital space. And there is a lot of it which is new in the digital space as well. Like, for instance, as I mentioned, there are a lot of tools which are absolutely new. So, you will have to learn them somewhere. So, that is this place where you can learn and see how best you could probably do marketing in the digital space for the same brands that you were doing traditionally. So I'm right now mentioning hypothetically, but if you want to continue to be in the same organization that you are in, and the digital marketing efforts are just building up, so what you learn from this course can be straight away applied, and you can build a team and start practicing all of it and take your brands into the digital space, depending upon the kind of company and what kind of customers you have. There is definitely application. I think I can be as broad as this for your question. Hope this answers your question. If there's anything specific, please feel free to ask.
Sure. I think one example there I could give you, because you mentioned digital activations for brands. You've been running some activations for brands. There's there's a difference as, say, a performance marketing manager, right? Maybe you could move on to become a performance marketing specialist in your company, and that requires you to understand how these activations that you're doing can be integrated into the CRM of your company that you're currently using. How do I track this entire journey of a user, right? Maybe I did this one activation for once on Facebook. The journey doesn't end there. I really need to plan out the entire consumer journey with and closely follow it. And the only way you can do it is trying to understand, say HubSpot as a tool, as CRM, right? That's a part of our curriculum. So that's just one of the example I could think of for you. Uh, Great. All right, Sanjay, moving on to you, because you've come with that question, I think, 10 times. I have a media sales experience of 7 years. I want to grow in my career in marketing. How can I start, and which certification can help?
So I think from media sales, I just mentioned a while ago about programmatic advertising, which is also come in, and some of the some of the jobs in media probably can move to digital, right? So there's one specialization in the base program. Of course, the base program of 5 months is something which would be basic, would be required. Moving ahead from there, you can get into search and content specialization, as well as the analytics specialization which exists. So these two probably will help you move from media sales to marketing, and probably you'll look at how you can shape your career with these two modules.
Perfect.
Sanjay, hope that helps.
Thank you for your suggestion and advice. Okay, he
I
says,
think there's one question on digital. What is the difference between digital advertising and digital marketing? Somebody has asked,
sure,
right?
you can pick that up.
Yeah. So, in fact, if we look at what is digital marketing, there's a lot more than just advertising, right? The entire marketing communication, which is two ways being managed there. So, when you're talking about digital advertising, you talk about the paid media, right? So it also has owned media and earned media, which is there, and the entire conversations that happen between the community, the users, the brands which are there, customers which are there. So all of these communications have to be streamlined, and your presence on various social media platforms are required to be managed. All of that is a part of digital marketing, whereas digital advertising would be more of paid media than the others. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Professor. All right. Okay, I don't know which one to pick. Okay, Vishwanath's question: what are the basic building blocks of digital marketing?
Okay. So, when you're starting with digital marketing, our base course, which is there, I'll repeat the base course, which is, it's a kind of a fundamental backbone of digital marketing, right? So, as I mentioned, of course, fundamentals of marketing you need to know, because some things remain the same, whether you're digital or traditional. But that's just for a short bit, which is there in the program. Moving ahead from there, you need to understand the digital ecosystem and what are the digital metrics and digital channels which exist, and then how to connect customers in various spaces, and then understand the different kind of social media platforms, and how does the search engine work, and the business around search engine, the search engine marketing, search engine optimization, how does that happen, you need to know. You need to know content, which is the key in that sense. The content generation, content dissemination, and content marketing part of it, and things like display advertising, then user nurturing. So all these aspects kind of become the base, and we know at all these points we are privileging customer experience rather than just persuading the customers to buy. So persuading customers to buy only was that of marketing communication of yesteryears. Right now, persuasion is through creating experiences, which does help, which does get enhanced through the learnings of the basics of digital marketing, which I just talked about.
Perfect. Thank you, Professor, for an elaborate answer. The Sayantan who's asking us that I've chosen the manager executive track. How can this track help me improve my skills and embellish my thoughts? And how can I develop further in this track to make it as my profession? One quick response to that, Sayantan, would be really try and apply the projects that you're currently doing. So it's if it's the executive track that you're on, and maybe later if you choose a specialization on, say, branding, right, just ensure that the L'Oreal project that you get to work on, right, you really immerse yourself in that project, and also try and pick up those learnings in your current workplace. It could be a different format, right? It could not you couldn't you would not be in FMCG currently, but try and utilize those learnings in your current workplace, and that will really give you some, full speed throttle at your own workplace, and you will see a jump in your own career. That'll be my take on this, Professor, if you would like to add.
Yeah. No, Meda, I think you've given the absolute perfect explanation about what happens in the managerial track. So I think that should answer the question. So now I think I see this Babu Bernard has asked a question on how do you think digital revolution occupancy in terms of pharmaceutical space, as we are there in the pandemic, which is engulfing huge pine health, is what he has asked. So definitely, if you look at the digital revolution, even in the pharmaceutical space, is something which is key right now. All the interactions and see the digital marketing part of it is more of communication and logistics right now. That's something which is crucial, without which I don't think the pharmaceutical industry could have been able to do what it is doing right now, isn't it? So if you look at whether it is Dr. Reddy's lab or whether it is Zydus, right now, if you look at the ones who are developing vaccines like our Serum Institute or AstraZeneca and all of these, Johnson and Johnson and all of them, they have to take it to the citizens, right? They have to take it to those who need at the moment. So this entire thing about communicating trust and what the vaccine has and what kind of medicines are required, what they manufacture, all of that is something which is happening in the digital space right now. Why? Because I'm saying, as a customer, when there is something about COVID that is up there, first thing you do is go look up the Google. And of course, you're also going to be influenced by a lot of sharing that is happening through your direct messaging, right? So companies do create formatted, clear information so that that gets circulated and builds trust and kind of gets passed on to more and more customers. Even that is being done. So I'm just talking about some aspects, but I think pharmaceutical industry is benefiting and doing a lot in the digital space as well. So yeah, I hope this answers your question, Babu.
Perfect. Thank you. I think I see a follow-up question from Sanjay. Programmatic content and analytics absolutely will help you grow, Sanjay, in the marketing side. Depends on where you want to be, right? Where you see your um, uh, career shaping into. If that is what, and that definitely, the three things that you mentioned are the need of the hour. We see every other brand wanting to get into this and master it. So if this ties into your personal goals, absolutely, please get in there. There's a lot more on the branding side as well, which is happening. So if that is something that interests you, please take that up as your specialization. The base program will is called Advanced Certificate in Digital Marketing and Communications. It's for 6.5 months, and then you can add a specialization onto it. Please visit upgrad.com slash digital marketing. I think you will go to our program page and you can see all the details there. And if there's anything that's left unanswered, guys, in this session, because we're 10 minutes away from the session closing, please feel free to write to us at admissions@upgrad.com. And I can see 28 open questions. All right, let us see if we can try and cover.
Right, I'm seeing one question, Meda. Let's take this, but this is from a, is it an anonymous attendee? One second, I think it just got moved. I think it's Priyaranjan Chaudhary. I think it's an important point I see. The topics we are covering in this course will have a relevance to what extent after 1 or 2 years, or any other new things we need to learn to keep pace with the industry demand. Kindly advise. So clearly, Priya Ranjan, I think you've asked a good question. I know a lot of MICA alumni coming back to some course or the other again to reorient themselves, to upskill themselves. So I'm here in the teaching field, so I don't have a choice, but I keep reading stuff and I keep updating in case if I need to do a quick skill building thing, like for instance, to understand social listening. If I need to know R, Python, Germinate, or any of these, I will do a course quickly and get myself trained and get onto the job, right? And some tools which I knew earlier probably are of no use now. But of course, the experience that I've gained from learning that helps me learn newer things very well. So, for your question, we can't put a time to this certification, but clearly some fundamentals which are there, those are evergreen, that will remain useful always, because that's how this program is designed. But some new tools that are coming in will be time and again updated. Maybe in future there will be a possibility where we would have shorter modules also open for grabs, where you can probably come and upgrade yourself or upskill yourself on specific modules. So that also will be open with the MICA upgrad program. So do look up for information about that on upgrad page, so that you can upgrade yourself accordingly. And thanks for asking that question. Very relevant. There's no stopping. We have to be a lifelong learner.
Perfect. Thank you, Professor. Okay, one interesting question. Okay, Bhavika is a HR professional with 6 years of experience. Uh, okay, she's selected the manager track, and please help me how I'll make a career in digital marketing. So, Bhavika, please immerse yourself in learning the tools with that we'll be teaching, because you're coming from a very different field. Please get hands-on knowledge on the tools, because in when you begin your career now in digital marketing, I think because you're coming from HR, you will be asked to begin with the first level, which is actually working on projects, implementing them, maybe running digital activations on. You might be using Google Analytics a lot in the new workplace that you will be trying to move to. So do try and get complete hands-on with all the tools that we're teaching you, and then slowly um, keep showing through your projects the improvement that you have, and I'm sure you can put all those projects in your resume when you apply for a job wherever you're applying. And I hope those projects you'll be able to translate them even during your interview when you're interviewed. I think that's my advice there.
So there are also a few people who have just mentioned about the kind of experience they have so far, like Saeed Qadri has mentioned that. So clearly, I think a course like this would be really useful if you were to kind of upskill yourself in digital marketing.
Okay, Saeed actually had a question, I guess, half an hour ago, saying that he has 10 years of experience in frontline sales. And he's worked in a leading automobile company in Oman. And I was in B2B corporate fleet sales. So, okay, but he also talked about, okay, it has helped him. Okay, great. Great. I have a few other questions on various. I think one I find interesting, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and he or she wants to start a career in digital marketing.
That's
So,
deadly, deadly combination. Because
because, yeah,
yes,
okay, consumer behavior, you can just absolutely nail it there. Yes. Uh,
because it's there's a there are a lot of people who are digital gurus who talk about digital being more of psychology and sociology than technology. So when you have a strong psychology degree, getting into digital marketing would be the icing on the cake. So go for it.
Perfect. So, whoever's posted this question, do I learn through internships or through courses, or get an MBA? I would really suggest keep doing as many internships and as many live projects as you can, because an MBA degree will tell you more about each function in detail, at least in the first year, and then second year you can pick up specializations. But even, I mean, having done it myself, I know that there's less hands-on you can do in an MBA versus through courses like these, which are specifically designed for working professionals. You can make the best use of it while also doing other internships if you want to. Great. 1 year into sales, how will this course help? Vinayak, this is absolutely, if you want to move from sales to marketing, this is absolutely designed for you. uh, okay, I'm just trying to rush through given that we have very less time. Heath is saying that he or she has 2 years of experience in mortgage domain, and now is trying to do some certifications like Google Analytics, Google Search Ads. I'm looking for exposure in corporate world. How will this course help to start? So Heath, you will, if you're looking at it from a very singular perspective, right, where you can just go do this Google Search Ads, do that certification. I have done it myself, and it only gives you a very like a very overview hint, right? You didn't get a hands-on onto that tool while doing that certification, versus programs like this actually help you work with the tool. And not Google Analytics is just one of the tools. There's so many more. HubSpot, there's BuzzSumo, there's Clever Tap. So many functionalities that, when you have a hands-on with these tools, you will get to know, oh, there is so much that can be explored in the world of digital marketing. So yeah, you can.
Answered all right, because I'm not seeing.
No, there are still so many open questions. Is there anything that you would like to take, Professor?
I do see some of them asking questions like how's upgrad different from simply learn. I'm sure all of them have something to offer. So you need to look at which course you want to do, and if you're looking at other brands, other offerings, other institutions, please go ahead, look at that as well. And then come back to us and ask us specifically what you'd want to do, and we have things that we have on offer, and we've been talking about what we have on offer. Okay, so I think we'll refrain from making a general comparison there. And there's also somebody who is
Okay, Indrani is asking that after the completion of the program, in case we want to deep dive into digital marketing space, does MICA offer a super specialization?
So clearly, those the top ups, the specializations which are there, those are specializations which exist. And the other thing is, we also have a digital branding and advertising program, which is super specialization in branding and advertising, digital branding and advertising. And as I earlier mentioned, we will also have smaller modules which probably could have some more specializations in those smaller modules moving ahead. So keep looking up for those in days to come, and look up for that information on the Upgrad website.
Perfect. I think I just answered one question by Harshal. He's asking what you should do other than the certification. I just replied saying that you can do as many internships as you want. Pick up brands that you really like. Say cred in India. If that's something that excites you, go ahead, apply for an internship there. Right. If the upgrad marketing is what interests you, do apply for an internship here. We have plenty of opportunities. So any growing startup is offering plenty of opportunities in the space of digital marketing. Please feel free to apply to such startups to learn more. Great. Okay, there are still so many left.
Sayantan Maitra, I think we've already answered
Yeah,
that
we've
question.
answered, yes. There's one by Bhagwat. What is the difference between stakeholder and shareholder? Shareholder is somebody who has a share in a company, and stakeholder is all of us maybe interacting. So we are stakeholders for this meeting, right? In terms of any project, you are a stakeholder. Your sales team is a stakeholder. Your finance team is a stakeholder, depending on what the project looks like. So that's difference. Um,
So there's
okay.
one question on Netflix as well, which I am not aware of, but maybe there's probably a industry expertise will definitely talk about the system that is used in Netflix as well.
I think Netflix recommendation is not covered as a part of the course, but there's one on how there's a Google project under the marketing analytics one, where we say how Google makes data-driven decisions. So that is a project you'll be working on. So not exactly Netflix, but Google is also a search engine, right? So you will understand it's a search engine which recommends at the end of the day. So it's very close to what you asked. Um,
That was Vishal Sarkar, so I think maybe you can.
sure. Professor, do you mind if we exceed by 5 minutes? For those of you who are really getting late and want to leave out because we've reached the time, I'll talk about what I initially started the session with. For all of you who attended the session, thank you for your time. And we have a special discount running for the attendees of today's session. Please feel free to write to us at international.admissions@upgrad.com, and we will be telling you what exactly is the discount applicable as per your profile. So it's a profile dependent discount, but there are up to $500 worth of discounts up for grabs. So please do write to us, and we will let you know about, depending on your profile. Great. Professor, can you please wait for 5 more minutes if that's fine?
Yes. I think there's a question by Pallavi Boro, and she says that she holds a master's in education, and she's enrolled in digital marketing. And will I get jobs in corporate world? Of course, Pallavi, you will. I think it's a good transition to make, and the fact that you have a master's in education, you know some frameworks and all of that. Probably you could also see how best you can converse about digital marketing to the rest in your team once you get onto any job. And the transition is not something which is difficult. Once you have this certificate, everybody starts from scratch and you begin there, because
Great.
that remains a fact. If we don't have the requisite experience, I think you'll have to start from scratch, and that's something which is a must.
Perfect. Okay, Israel asked if when can we start applying for internships at Upgrad. You can do the base course and apply because that'll just show that you have some experience. So yeah, in digital marketing. Great. Oh, one interesting question by Hashim is that he's working as sales manager in e-commerce companies, and how will digital marketing help his career? E-commerce is a brimming example of marketing, digital marketing, and I think most of what we've learned today is from what these e-commerce firms like Amazon have really taught us that we can do in this domain. Uh, yes, Professor, I think you can add if you.
Yeah. So, Ashim, I think, as Medha rightly mentioned, you are in that space where so much is happening. Some organized understanding of what else can happen that you can gain through this program would only add to your current knowledge, and you can grow based on also the experience. You don't have to start from scratch there once you do this program. Maybe you can choose the managerial or leadership track, and then move on to the next roles. And this experience that you've had definitely will take you in good stead apart from the learnings in DM.
Perfect. Uh, Thank you, Professor. All right, I think a lot of folks have asked repeated questions. We've already talked about freshers building up their digital marketing profile. We've talked about people with 1 year experience. Just start with programs like this and keep doing the live projects. And if you have any internships to do with it, that'll really help you transition from any other field into digital marketing. There's Inderbir who's asking that is it useful for a person, a digital marketer who's already in the field since last 10 years. Absolutely, Inderbir, I covered this in the start at around 8:38 is when I answered this question. You can definitely look at the other tracks that we have, and depending on where you want to move into, say if you want to really be a programmatic specialist, right, in your current firm, please choose the right specialization uh, to achieve your career goals. Okay. Think, Professor, there's one question by Anita. Yeah, if you can answer that one.
Which one?
He has an experience in project management and is a digital business partner. Can he become a digital marketing leader now?
Yes, of course. It would, if you're into project management, if you want to move on to digital marketing, I think this course is bang on. And of course, within project management also, I think you might have been already using some digital tools, right? As you move higher up into the digital marketing levels, as you move higher up, the experience that you've had plus the learnings here will only help you move faster.
Perfect. Uh, Priya Ranjan has asked us, do you, after these 1-2 years, do you need to keep learning new things? Absolutely, yes. As Professor also mentioned that she keeps learning about new things every day. So the learning never stops. But this course gives you a basic hand on, oh, where do I begin with, right? That's the big question. Where do I begin in this ocean of knowledge? Great. Kubi, we have, you can just write to us at international admissions and we'll pick up your, questions there in terms of what a discount is applicable for your profile. And Nabil, you've completed your BBA, but BBA again was a very broad, a business administration course. Digital marketing is very, very specific. So absolutely, if you want to make a career in digital marketing, that's how it'll help. Anonymous question on average salary, please Google it up. And Yukti, okay, we're running out of time. What kind of team would I require for handling technical aspects? Um, so essentially you will yourself be adept to handle the technical aspects of digital marketing. This course teaches you all of those tools, and later you can train your teams if you like, as you progress in your organization.
If
Perfect.
she wants more people, she can always um, get people enrolled in this course and then hire them. If she has a startup and she wants to do that.
Perfect example, Professor. That's great. We answered 60 questions today. Congratulations, Professor. Congratulations to everybody who stayed through till the end of this session to listen to all the other questions of learners. I think it's so much more. Okay, this is an example of peer learning. I guess even if you didn't ask your question, you can hear somebody else's question and learn so much.
Even the questions were useful because we do kind of think the way the participants were asking. So I think that's learning for us too. Thank you for asking all your questions.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. The recording will be available after this. Please write to your admissions counselor. He or she will definitely help you with the recording. If you don't get the recording, please use the same link that you used for joining in. The same link becomes your recorded link a few hours in 2-3 hours. So do use the same link for watching this recording. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Professor, for so patiently answering all questions. Good evening, good night, and good day to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Medha. Had a wonderful time. Thank you very much, everybody. We will hope to see you in the program and we'll look forward to welcoming those of you who will successfully complete the course as MICA Executive Alumni. Bye for now. All of you stay safe and stay strong. We will overcome the pandemic soon. Thank you.
Thank you.